What's up guys, my name is TechnoTuner and today I'm bringing to you my test hands video for Fiendsmith Magical Musket. This deck has a lot of capability of really becoming very explosive, setting up a lot of negates and interactability, but for this deck in specifics, I have made it more of a go second deck just so I can use Forbidden Droplets and other cards to negate my opponent's effects and just get more interaction. This is a deck that I have a lot of fun playing at locals. There's a lot of capabilities of going through and setting up different end boards, but I just wanted to show you what I have for you today. Of course, since this is a going second deck, we're going to show our first two going second hands, and then our last one going first. Anyways, let's go ahead and hop right on into this. Also, I hope you guys like the new mat. This is something I've had on the shelf for a while, just wasn't sure when to bring it out. It's from, I can't remember the name of it, Athenian deck mats. They make excellent two-player deck mats, and it's really great overall. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at our first hand. So we draw in a Magical Musket, last stand, Diabolica, the Dragonique General, Magical Musket Starfire, Link into the Brains, and another Link into the Brains. So this is a bit of a bricky start if we were to go first, but going second, this is not bad because we drew into the Fiendsmith's track. So what we can do right off bat is normal summon Magical Musket Starfire. Next, activate Tract effect to add a Light Fiend monster. We'll go ahead and add us a Lurie. Once we go ahead and get the Lurie, we'll then have to discard a card. We'll discard the Lurie, and then Tract will be sent to the graveyard. This will trigger Starfire effect since the spell is activated in its column. So it'd be 1, 2. So Lurie would summon itself from the graveyard, and then Starfire would then be able to summon from deck. So we'll go ahead and summon us a Magical Musket level 4 or lower. We will go ahead and special summon us a Magical Musket Caspar, so we can get a little bit further into our plays. What we'll do next is take the Lurie, go into normal Fiendsmith combo, go into Fiendsmith Requiem, Requiem effect to tribute itself, summon the Lacrima. Then we're going to go ahead and do Lacrima effect once it hits board to send an Engraver. We'll next go into Fiendsmith Requiem effect to go ahead and equip to Lacrima. Then we'll go ahead and contact Fuse into Necroquip. Next, we'll go ahead and activate Engraver Engrave, summoning it, shuffling back the Lurie. We're already past 5 summons. We already know this, so there's no worries on that. Most people are now opting to side out the Nibiru's, so we don't really have to worry about that right now. Now, here's the fun part. We can actually go into a couple things with this board. Given this case, we're going to go ahead and go directly into our wave High King Caesar with these two, just as a quick way to set up a negate for any further interactability. And, well, before I do any, I've already missed timing, but I could have activated this effect off of Lacrima since a card was sent to the graveyard by a card effect. So, what are we doing here? Well, we'll go ahead and take the Starfire instead and go directly into our Magical Musketeer Max effect, which will then allow us, if it's Link Summon, we're going to say they have at least a spell or trap on the board, and at least 2 or 3 monsters. We're going to go ahead and activate the effect to special summon Magical Musket monsters from our deck equal to the amount. So we're going to say at least 1 here. So if we're wanting to do a little bit more pressure, we'll go ahead, because I believe it's level 4 or lower if I remember. It's been a while since I played it. But Yep, so it doesn't even specify which one, so The fun little tech that I put in is we can go into Zakil, since he's a level 8. Also enables us to do a couple other funny plays. He's also just really big. Now, once per turn during your opponent's end phase, you draw cards equal to the number of magical musket spells and trap cards you've activated this turn while this card was face up on the field. Can help out a lot. We'll next go ahead and activate Link into the Rain, special summoning Draconia, because it's not specifically a level 4 or lower. And then we'll go ahead and link with these two into our Unchained Soul Lord Yama. Sorry, I'm going to adjust that a little bit, help you guys out, see a little bit more. From there, we'll go ahead and activate Yama. Make sure there's no trigger effects in the graveyard. Since it wasn't sent to graveyard by card effect, we can't trigger its effect. But if this card is special summon, you can add one Unchained monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand if a card you control is destroyed. So, we're going to go ahead and add, if I can find them, Unchained Soul of Shavara, or Sharvara. Yeah, Sharvara. If a card you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, while this card is in your graveyard, you can banish this card, special summon one fiend monster from your hand or graveyard, then destroy one card your opponent controls. We're going to say that activating Caspar is rogue, so I am sorry about that. But in this case, we would then add another interaction, since our hand is Link into the Brains, Magical Musket Last Stand. What we would probably want to grab is the Cross Domination, so we can get a monster effect negation as well. So what we can do here is we'll go ahead and set this, activate Shavara effect. We'll target this, pop it, summon Sharvara, which can help us go into a little bit further plays. Sharvara has the fun effect of, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can set one Unchained spell or trap from your deck to your hand, which we're going to more than likely utilize here by allowing us to go into Unchained Soul of Anguish. These two, allowing us to get that spell and trap. So we're going to go ahead and get the Unchained Trap, if I can find it. Abominable Chamber of the Unchained. We'll set that there. From here, what we can do is use Abominable, or Unchained Soul of Anguish, is target one face-up monster our opponent controls. Immediately after this effect resolves, link summon using it. So we'll use this and the other monster our opponent controls, and go directly into Access Code. Access Code will gain 3k. We can then use Access Code effect to then send opponent's cards, and it's at 53. So we'll go ahead and we'll banish the Unchained Soul. Since it's a dark, we'll banish the Magical Musketeer Max. So we get 2 sends, and we still have pops and interactability. Alright, so just from all that, we still have the way to drop our opponent's monster to 0, negates effects. We have a 2500 beater, a 1200 attacker or 2k defender, a 53 beater, and a 2800 beater with effect negation. Overall, we would have been able to swing for game depending on the board state, but it's still a very interesting board. So we'll go ahead and look into the next one of our going second hands. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our going second hand again. So we got Fiendsmith Sanct, Magical Musketeer Dock, Magical Musketeer Starfire, Fiendsmith's Tract, and Magical Musketeer Caspar. Given the fact that we still want to see what else we can draw, since we're going second, we're going to still draw another card, which is Engraver. So let's go ahead and hop right on into it. So first up, we'll go ahead and discard the engraver to add us a spell or trap, because I have not activated this effect in a hot minute. Yep, you add one Fiendsmith spell or trap from your deck to your hand. So we'll go ahead and add us a Fiendsmith in Paradise. There's a reason why I'm going about this route, just to give you guys a different point of view. So next, we'll go ahead and activate Starfire, or normal summon Starfire, and then activate the card Fiendsmith Tract effect to add Lurie, and then we're going to discard Lurie. We will then activate the effect of Lurie Engrave and Starfire. So Starfire will be 1, Lurie will be 2, chain blocking. Starfire to... So we'll first summon the Lurie, then Starfire will allow us to summon a Caspar. Then what we can do here is do a couple interesting things. We'll go ahead and activate Fiendsmith Sanct, getting us a token. We're locked into Fiends, specifically. Yep, Fiends this turn. And we'll activate in Caspar's column. Caspar will then allow us to grab a spell or trap. We'll go ahead and grab a Cross Domination. What we can do here is then take the Starfire, go directly into the max. Once again, we're going to say our opponent plays at least one spell and trap. Given that this field is, if we're going against Vanquish Soul, they usually have 2, so we'll use that effect, saying we're going against that, to get us 2 magical musket monsters onto the board. So we'll do Dock, and we'll do Dock and Zakeel. Because Zakeel also gets us the fun effect of, during our opponent's end phase, we can draw cards equal to our number of magical musket spells and trap cards that we've activated while this card is face up on the field. So, since we got 2 monsters, we'll go ahead and take Max, go directly into our Requiem, and then we will take we'll go ahead and take Caspar, or no, we'll use Doc and Lurie to go into Unchained Soul of Rage. We'll next activate Requiem effect, contributing it, getting us a Lacrima effect to send a Fiendsmith monster or Fiendsmith card. We'll go ahead and instead of sending a tract or anything, we will send the Fiendsmith Engraver. Next, we'll go ahead and activate Requiem Engrave, equipping it to Crimson Tears. We'll then link these 2 away, or contact fuse, and then go into Necroquip. What we can do from here is next take the token and Zakeel. Well, actually, we'll leave the Zakeel. We'll take the Caspar in this case and go into our sequence. Then we'll activate Engraver effect, shuffling back a Lurie to summon an Engraver. We'll overlay these 2 into our Wave King High Caesar, and then activate Requiem, shuffling back it, Engraver, and we'll go ahead and see about using Max. So we'll put Max back into the extra deck, and the other two into the bottom of the deck, or shuffle them into the deck, and then go into our Fiendsmith Desiree. We're not going to use the effect to equip yet. Given that we have Requiem Engraved. We've already utilized that effect, and we're not going to use Sequence yet, because we're going to go these two into Fiendsmith's Agamonde. Agamonde effect to revive back the Desiree. Then we're going to equip the Agamonde to the Desiree, making it a 4600 attacker. So we already have 2 negates. Then we're going to activate Unchained Soul of Rage effect, linking away with one of our opponent's monsters. And we can go into Unchained Soul of Anguish. And we can utilize Unchained Soul of Anguish effect to link away with another one of our opponent's special summon monsters. We have to put it here. And then link summon a dark link monster. So what we can do is use it to go with that and the other monster to get rid of another monster on board. Go into the Yama. If not, we have a 3K or 2400 beater. And then Yama effect, we get another card. So we get us the Unchained Soul Shavara. So, what do we have so far? Well, we have a capability of still swinging for 28, 2K, 28, and 25. Being able to utilize this. Then we have still the negation. We have Fiendsmith in Paradise to allow us to send all cards our opponent controls to the graveyard, since we control Desiree. And we have a cross domination since we have Zakil on board, if we still couldn't finish up that. So overall, that is not a bad hand to what we could utilize. All right. So, given that we have this, and we have the capability of dropping our opponent's monsters to 0 during the damage step, and negating their effects if they choose to interact or special summon, we can still utilize this to go pretty far and break our opponent's board. We've already linked away twice with our opponent's monsters. We've also popped a card, and yeah, we've linked it away twice. We can still negate, and then we could drop their monster's attack to 0. Yep. So overall, that's not a bad setup board, and we have the capability for recovery because we still have Unchained Soul Shavara, Magical Musketeer Doc, and Caspar in hand, along with Paradise on board and Cross Dom in hand. So we can swing for further damage, and if need to, play into our opponent's hand next turn with interactability. Alright, let's go ahead and see what the deck can do going first. Alright, so let's go ahead and see what our going first hand is. We end up with Fiendsmith Sanct, Link It to the Brains, Magical Musketeer Caspar, Magical Musketeer Starfire, and Fiendsmith's Tract. Alright, so let's go ahead and utilize this to our best capability. So we'll first normal summon the Starfire, activate Fiendsmith's Tract, Fiendsmith's Tract effect. We'll then trigger. Adding this Lurie, we'll discard the Lurie. Then we'll get Starfire effect and Lurie effect. So we'll do 1, 2. So summon the Lurie. And then Starfire will trigger, summoning us from our deck a Magical Musketeer Caspar. We can then next utilize another card in our hand, which is Fiendsmith Saint. We'll activate Sanct underneath cast bar effect, creating a token, and then cast bar effect to grab us a magical musket spell or trap. Depending on what we want, we can grab the spell and trap negation, or not spell and trap, but the monster negation, which I think is more beneficial right now. We'll next go ahead and link off with the token into our Requiem. Requiem effect, tribute itself, get us a Lacrima. Lacrima effect on summon to send in Foolish a Engraver so we can further continue our plays. And then we'll activate Requiem effect in Graveyard to equip it to our Lacrima. And then we'll utilize these two to go into our Necroquip Princess. We'll next utilize using Lurie and the cat. Lurie and I have a play, but we're going to have to hold off on that because we're going to first activate Link to the Brains, summoning the cast bar as our fifth summon, or well, fifth monster on the board. We'll take the cast bar that I just summoned and the Lurie. Instead, go into our Unchained Soul of Yama. Yama effect will grab us a Unchained Soul of Sharbara. Then we can summon back Engraver by shuffling back a cast bar. And we have a fun instance here where we can utilize this a little bit further to our capabilities and set up a bigger board, or we can still see about going further into our plays. And when I say that, I mean we can either utilize this going into a fusion line, a link line, or further climb up. In this case, it would probably be more beneficial for us to go into a fusion line for further negation. So we'll go ahead and take Starfire and Yama, go into sequence. We'll next go ahead and activate sequence effect. Oh, never mind. Can't activate. Well, yes, I can. So sequence wasn't the best play here because I don't have an engraver engrave. I would have to send the engraver instead, which will, yeah, that'd be fine. So we'll send the engraver instead, go to Fiendsmith sequence, and then we'll go into using its effect to fusion summon. We'll use engraver, Lurie, and Yama. So place Yama back. Well, I can't use Yama. So we'll have to be... Sorry, I don't mean to keep misplaying here, folks. We'll use Requiem instead. Place Requiem back. Place these two back on bottom. And then go into our Fiendsmith Desiree. We're going to know the normal play of linking these two up into Agmunde. Agmunde effect to revive back the Desiree. Then we'll go ahead and equip Agmunde to that and sequence to it as well. We'll next pop the Starfire to summon Shavara, and then use the Shavara and Necroquip to go into a High Wave King Caesar Desiree. So overall, that's not a bad board. Now, there is another thing that we can do. But we're not going to utilize that effect because the other one we have as a capability is instead of summoning from graveyard, and we would keep just that we can still utilize some of these monsters instead of popping into that. Because at this board, it'd be a little too easy to break. Because with only one negation. So that would be the most beneficial play here in keeping both these plus Desiree. And since a card was banished, we could special summon one fiend monster from a hand or graveyard, then destroy one card we control. We'll go ahead and special summon Starfire back by banishing that, since we popped the card. So before we get to this point, and then we destroy a card, we would destroy the sequence because we don't need more really than 3 negates. And then we can go with these two into this, still giving us capability. So we have further playability of being able to go up the line if we would like, let alone just being able to end on an end board of Abao Aku, Lightless Shadow, if we really want to sacrifice more monsters into it. Since it is a link 4, it wouldn't be that hard with Agamemnon plus Starfire, leaving us Caspar and a capability of getting to Highway of King Caesar. But overall, it's not a bad board in general. It just allows us more capabilities of playing. This gives us more in negation effects. So what we can utilize here is we have 3 negates, a way to negate a monster effect, drop its attack to 0, negate 2 summons. When a spell or trap or monster effect is activated, that includes the effect of special summoning a monster. And then Caspar allows us to also get us either a pop or spell and trap negation. It's really up to the rest of the deck on what we would like to utilize for this deck. Overall, this deck is a lot of fun to actually mess with. There's a lot of different routes. You don't usually end on the same board every time, but you can modify it to your needs. You can definitely input the K9 engine as well, up it to about a 45 to 50 card engine or 50 card deck. And then all you would have to do is in certain extra deck cards, what I would recommend cutting is probably Rex Trimday, IP Masquerena, and potentially access code, but access code does help us out in a lot. If you don't have access to an Abao, I would recommend that as another option just to fill out your extra deck slots. It also gives you more interactable effects during your opponent's turn, allowing you to exceed summon, and it doesn't have to play into the Light Fiend aspect, but does give you more capability of playing in and really interrupting your opponent. But either way, guys, I hope you really enjoyed this deck profile, or well, not deck profile, but test hands video, and I'll see you all in the next one.
Is it okay if I'm to say I'm catching feelings from all the dealings? Am I astray? What do you say? How are you feeling? Is it the same?